I'm Zoe delahunty-light, and I have poured a straight fortnight into Diablo 4. I got advance access to the press build, so this review is based off what I played in that press build. Just gonna say that right now at the beginning because I didn't get access to the entire game because I didn't have enough time with it. Diablo 4 is a game that encourages and rewards you investing your time in the game. As more mechanics open up the more you play, which encourages you to pay attention to the big picture of your character and its place in the world. The downside is that there's less focus on combat, which to me is a basic backbone to Diablo 4, which I will be getting into in its own specific section, as that's my major issue with the game. Don't get me wrong, it's still good, and I'm still gonna spend hundreds of hours in Diablo 4, but I definitely feel the enemies and slaughtering said enemies has been neglected. I'll be splitting this review into 5 sections to keep things comprehensive. Diablo 4's tone, its strongholds, the combat, the multiplayer, and the end game content. Combat is the thing I have the most criticism for, so skip right to that if you want to hear the not so good parts of Diablo 4, because overall it's a good game. It's just not spectacular. Here we go. Diablo 4 is a lot darker than Diablo 3. The world is bleak and hopeless, corpses lie prone everywhere you go, just waiting to be rolled over as you loot them for anything useful. A significant amount of this hopeless world is grounded in the side quests of Diablo 4, as they're focused on how this horrendously bleak world has affected the lives of ordinary people. I won't drop any spoilers here, but it's clear that the writers have gone in hard on what it's like to live in a world where survival is your main concern, and surviving not only includes living in harsh climates, but also avoiding demons. A huge world awaits you in Diablo 4. There is so much to explore that it was overwhelming and continued to be overwhelming even when I was at level 33. Forests, deserts, arid lands, swamps, and frozen wastes stretch out before you. Moments of brilliance shine through in certain places. Within caves, bioluminescent mushrooms glow, and purple torches blaze against a humid green swamp. But that treatment is foregone in the snowy and arid regions of Sanctuary. They could have done with a bit more love, as they are basic and uninspired in comparison to the forests and swamps. Once you get into the homes, churches, mansions, and more of Diablo 4, you'll be able to see for yourself just how stunningly detailed the interiors are. Look at the details in the shops here. Bottles, books, tools, junk all piled up against the walls, even a skeleton on the table of the occultist. You could look at the staging of these interiors for so long, and each and every second you choose to rewards your curiosity. Strongholds get their own point in my review, as I really love them. Strongholds are locations where you're put through a gauntlet of enemies to get to a boss at the end, and sometimes when you kill said boss, a fast travel point unlocks and the stronghold turns into a hamlet or village. The whole mechanic is handled wonderfully well. Strongholds, each and every one of them, all have different framing in terms of story, and due to the embargo I signed, I can't talk about them in any significant detail quite yet, but I can be vague about it. What I can say is that they all have their own unique spin on why there's a boss you need to take down, and why the area in question has been infested with enemies, and each one of these spins was a delightful mini-story of its own. Seeing them repopulated with people rebuilding the ruins once you've unlocked fast travel gives you a great sense of achievement, and hearing what the NPCs have to say about what transpired amongst the rubble and blood deepens the connections between the Stronghold mission and the impact it's had on normal people. Just like I said before, you get further insight into how bleak it must be to live in this world if you're not a necromancer running around with your bone squad. I love my bone squad. Okay, hello to those of you who skipped straight to the negative point. Combat and fighting and the enemy design in Diablo 4 is fine. It's not amazing, it's not awful, it's just not new. I played hundreds of hours worth of Diablo 3 and to me, I cannot see the difference between the two games, aside from the obvious increase in aesthetic fidelity and such. I had my world on Veteran after the initial opening quest, and found it really quite easy. In the end, I ended up taking my Necromancer to the higher level lands and was met with a refreshing challenge, but that didn't fix the issues I was already finding with Diablo 4's combat. Although there is a decent range of enemies to take on, by level 33 they got samey. Often a giant tank, variably named the Oppressor or the Firebrand, has the same moveset but a different skin. I liked being ambushed by bandits every now and again, but that's really it, as there's only so many times you can run into the same attacks and enemies who don't really interact with each other to create interesting and challenging combat scenarios before you mentally check out. I'd end up sprinting past events because they got really repetitive after a while, especially as I was finding the game a bit too easy anyway. I mean, there's only so many times I can save caravans or interact with obelisks. This goes for the bosses too, although in the main quests they show creativity in their design, all bar one of the strongholds and dungeons I completed. In them, the bosses were really predictable. I was hoping, like with the combat in Diablo 4, that something new and interesting would have been done with the bosses. But instead, it feels like the developers have focused on everything else but being inventive with the core combat. Diablo 4 appears to know this is its weakness, as when you get far enough in the main quest, you unlock a mount, which allows you to gallop past all the repetitive, open-world combat. I wish I had had it sooner, to be honest. I can't speak to how well multiplayer worked in Diablo 4. That's because I was playing a press build on a press account when people had limited access to the game, so I didn't get the full experience of playing Diablo 4 at the same time as thousands of other people. This means I didn't see anyone running around in towns with me or in the open world, so I'm debating doing a separate multiplayer review of Diablo 4 once I have enough time with it. Let me know if you'd be interested in that in the comments below. As a consequence, queuing for the game was very quick. Neither did I get a chance to try clans, as I was only one of 2 people playing Diablo 4 for Eurogamer, so I couldn't exactly get a clan going. Again, might include my impressions of that in a separate video if there's enough interest in it. As I had limited time with Diablo 4 on a press build, and subsequently my Necromancer is going to have to be deleted by the time you watch this video, I only managed to get to level 33, so I didn't get to experience the true endgame of Diablo 4. However, I have a good grip on the architecture of the parts of the game that are made to keep both newcomers and veterans engaged. You're very much encouraged to reassign skills and play with your abilities to focus on what works for you with a skill buyback, which meant I could finesse my Necromancer and didn't have a stupid sunk cost fallacy mindset, giving me room to experiment with both bone and blood skills. The amount to do after you beat the main quests, or when you get to high enough levels and neglect the main quests completely, is wild. This is a Diablo that is made for endgame. There's renown for each area to earn, Paragon tier once you reach level 50, playing with your skill set, unlocking aspects in the Codex of Power and taking that to the Occultist, different types of challenges to complete, and, for Necromancers, you can cut and combine your minions in your Book of the Dead. I thoroughly enjoyed all this intricate fiddling and respecking you can do, but again, this to me has pulled focus from the backbone of Diablo 4, its intense brawls. Renown is my favourite thing to pay attention to. It does make sense that the more you explore and help people out, the more well known you get in the main regions. If you're a player like me who loves exploring and uncovering all of the map, completing cellars and dungeons, finding Lilith statues and completing strongholds, you'll be happy to hear that the Renown architecture rewards you for all that exploring and the completionist mindset. Also, having definitions for words in the UI is amazingly helpful, and I love that you can do a keyword search in your skill tree to to find the skills most relevant to your chosen speciality. Love that. There you go, that's my Diablo 4 review, and although I am going to pour probably hundreds of hours into it, I really do wish it had more to offer in terms of its core gameplay. I love my Bone Squad and being a necromancer, but it feels like the developers have lost sight of what made Diablo Diablo. Intense, challenging brawls with enemies who force you to switch up your tried and tested strategies. I really wish I'd got more experience with the multiplayer / kind of MMO aspect, especially in the main settlements, so that might have to be an update video at some point. Let me know what you think of Diablo 4 in the comments below, and I shall keep you updated with plenty of Diablo 4 content. I have a tips video coming up, and perhaps another one on the most disturbing things I've found in the game. If you've made it this far, thanks so much for watching, and make sure you subscribe to Eurogamer and like this video for more videos from yours truly, as we have a new video out almost every single day. Now, I'm going to go and mourn my wiped necromancer build and bring her back to life, which I think she'd be wholly supported of, so I'll see you lot next time.